So first of all, as a Sephardic Jew, I don't say Unetaneh Tokef. So that's a microaggression against me. And we're going to have to end now as I retire to a safe space. So all jokes aside, let me make a point about that. Unetaneh Tokef is a masterpiece. And yet, we need to understand that I'm not in any way trying to minimize it. But it is only recited by 50% of the Jewish people. 50% of Jewish people have never heard of Unetaneh Tokef. And conversely, or not never heard of it, but it doesn't play the role that it does for others. Conversely, there is a Sephardic Unetaneh Tokef, which is the introduction, the poem, which I mentioned last week, an introduction about the Akedah to Shofar, which is its own literary masterpiece called Eight Sharei Ratzon. If you Google Spanish-Portuguese Eight Sharei Ratzon, you'll be able to hear it, which a whole other part of Judaism has never heard of it. Which means the reason why I focused on Shofar, Akedah in the last talk, confession in this talk, is that actually those are the central pieces. So even without in any way negating it, I'll come to the extraordinary aspect of it, but I want to stress a Yom Kippur without Kol Nidre or Unetaneh Tokef is still a Yom Kippur. A Yom Kippur without Vidui is not a Yom Kippur. A Rosh Hashanah without Unetaneh Tokef or Eight Sharei Ratzon is still a Rosh Hashanah. A Rosh Hashanah without shofar, unless you're in the hospital or you're at home, but it's not the same Rosh Hashanah. So that, I just want to make that point, all jokes aside. The origins of Unetaneh Tokef is shrouded in mystery as well. It's affiliated with this man, I believe his name is Amnon of Mainz or something like that. Whether that story is the actual story or not, it's become written into Jewish legend and lore that there was a man who was a rabbi of whom conversion was demanded, and he asked for 3 days to think about it, and then he ended up, of course, rejecting it, but then was punished, and he saw that punishment as a punishment for not instantly rejecting. It's something like that. Why is the story a masterpiece? Rabbi Sachs somewhere rightly calls it like the Jewish version of Beethoven's Ninth or Rembrandt or something like that, meaning it is one of the great Jewish literary masterpieces. So why is that? I think because very few other piyutim summon this notion of the day of awe, of what awe actually means. Ki hu norah ve'ayom, as it says in Unetaneh Tokef. And so it summons it in that day. In a certain sense, it's the reverse of Kol Nidre. What do I mean by that? Kol Nidre in text is an extremely technical, strange even, statement. We are annulling our vows, etc. Its power lies in the combination of mood and music. Unetaneh Tokef is affecting even without a particular version of the music. It's affecting because of the words itself. So they're sort of mirror images of each other, even though most people associate, or many people associate, Yom Kippur with those two. So that's why it's very powerful, because of that. I'll add as an aside that a story which I've really liked is that Menachem Begin, one of my heroes, I think this was when he was asked by Carter to make some concession about Jerusalem. I don't remember what it was. Jerusalem or maybe something else, but I think it was Jerusalem. And he told Carter the whole story of Rabbi Amnon of Mainz, which I'm sure he really appreciated. And he said, it's like that, meaning when it comes to Jerusalem or something like that, I can't even delay to say, let me think about it. I just have to, reject it. I always liked that story a lot. Yeah.